Hi, this is Mark Laughlin speaking for the Ambidextral Gunfighter. I was going to actually include what's in this video in my Applegate pistol video, but I thought I would kind of geek out a little bit, go in a little more detail by making a separate video. Now, what this video is about is I was comparing two pistols, the Walther PPQ M1 Classic and the MC2c or MC2c. And what I'm comparing is the grip. We're looking at what I call the Applegate grip ratio, which is the ratio of the width to the length. And with the PPQ, it's a fairly, kind of a fat grip compared to the Mossberg MC2c, which has a pretty kind of a slab side, kind of a 1911-ish grip. The ratio of this to this, it's almost twice as long here as it is in width. Now, in the medieval days, they often talked about swords and indexing, having the handle on your sword being able to index with just picking it up and immediately knowing which direction your blade is pointed. And this Applegate knife, I kind of think maybe it needs a little bit kind of more of a indexable grip. It's kind of around, but you do have the thumb guards to help help index on, and then also in the sheath, when you go to grab it, you're basically indexing by using the sheath to get the direction of the blade. Now, what I'm testing is a couple things. I want to see if having this more of a flat grip, like on the MC2c, if here I have the MantisX10 Elite, and I'm going to see if I can detect that one pistol or the other moves more because of maybe, I'm not able to index as well or something. So we're going to do testing on that, and then also accuracy testing, each pistol has a training laser in it, and we're using the iTarget application to collect data and to do scores. So we're scoring in two dimensions. One, actual hits on using a laser, and then also the MantisX10 Elite detecting the amount of movement that's generated from one pistol. And we're going to compare the pistols. We're going to compare, is one style of grip better than the other? Does it help to have this thin, elongated grip, or is the round grip on the PPQ just as good? So let's look at my spreadsheet here. All right, so here's our first spreadsheet where we actually did the grip ratio testing. And basically it's a real simple, I've got a list of all the pistols we have, and the width of the grip, and then the length of the grip, and then the formula here is basically the grip length divided by the grip width. And so that's what I'm calling the Applegate grip ratio. And the two pistols we're testing today are the Mossberg MC2, which has a 1.98 grip ratio, almost a 2, and then the Walther PPQ, which is a 1.47. Now, on this chart, we have the extremes of what I call the close shave grip, basically a razor blade or flat metal bar grip. And the grip ratio on that is a 224.36. And then also on the absolute other extreme is if we had the baseball bat style grip, in which case the dimension of the grip width and the grip length are identical, and the Applegate grip ratio is 1.0. So that's from one extreme to the other. Now, and then our testing, our lab test here, I did two tests, but the first test we did with the Mossberg MC2 and the PPQ, and we had a two-handed test point shooting, and then point shooting from the hip. And we did point shooting right-handed and left-handed. And then the point shooting from the hip, I did all left-handed. Well, that was the shooter's option on this. We had 6 different test subjects in this test. And here are all the scores for the Mantis scores and the iTarget scores, you know, basically how well they shot. And then this Mantis score is basically detecting how well the shooter avoided creating excess movement while they fired the shot. Now, what I ended up with, looking at the total scores of all categories, whether two-handed, right-handed, left-handed, or from the hip, adding up all those scores, the Mossberg MC2c did a little bit better than the PPQ, which was kind of surprising because the PPQ clearly has a better trigger. But the Mossberg nonetheless did a little bit better. Now, it was on the Mantis scores was 2.98% better, and on the iTarget scores was 5.28% better, which, you know, and this, you know, given the limited amount of data I have here, I only have 6 test subjects. How valid is that? I don't know. But what was very interesting was when I went and actually looked at just hip shooting. Scroll down here, one more line. The percent change from hip shooting, the Mossberg was 15.77% better than the PPQ when shooting from the hip, and 17.65% better when for the scores, for the iTarget scores. So that's kind of suggesting that when it, you know, as far as two-handed shooting, maybe the difference is not that great. You know, if you do the full two-handed thumbs forward shooting position style, you know, sighted and everything, maybe the grip is not that important. But when it comes to doing point shooting and, you know, no extra support, and you're not really using the sighting system to aim, but pointing proprioceptically, and that can, and in this case from the hip, maybe, you know, retention, that ability to index on that more flat shaped grip helps you point shoot better, which kind of makes sense. I did a second string of tests, and in this case we did two-handed, and this was all just me shooting it, and then I did two-handed left and right-handed. That's the two-handed sighted shooting, and then what I called MC2c stage 3 and stage 4, and that was basically the left and right hand, as if you were doing the Project Appleseed course of fire for stage 3 and stage 4, left and right-handed. And again, what we detected was that on two-handed shooting, the Mossberg MC2c was 0.81% better than the PPQ, and 4.57% better on the iTarget scores. On the one-handed point shooting, I guess you might call it, although some of these tests I did sighted one-handed shooting, it was 3.72% better on the MantisX score and 5.26% better on the iTarget score. So basically what we're seeing in my testing is, and maybe this is just you know, my select sample size. One, I did a lot of the shooting, or all the shooting in the second test, and then a different test subject in the first test. But we consistently saw that point shooting with that more of a bladed shaped grip, a flat slab sized grip, point shooting with that, you're going to be more accurate, and the pistol is going to be steadier, less movement from side to side or wherever, than if with a more rounded grip. So anyway, this is initial testing results. Would like to see other people or kind of replicate this kind of test. I hope to do the test again in the future with a KelTec P17 representing the very flat grip shape, and then compare that to, say, maybe a Ruger SR22 or a Walther P22, which has more of a roundish grip. Anyway, that's our results. It kind of, maybe it's just a confirmation bias, and there's some, you know, maybe if other people do the same kind of test, they don't get the same results. But it does seem to me that it makes sense, logically, that a grip where you can immediately tell, you know, without looking at your pistol and looking at your sights, you can immediately tell which way the muzzle is pointed. And with that flat grip, it's less likely to get rotated from one side to the other off of target. Whereas if you had the more closer to a dowel rod or the bat, you know, baseball bat grip, which is rounded, it's maybe a little bit easier, especially when point shooting, to have that muzzle get pulled off to one side or the other. It's Mark Laughlin speaking for the Ambidextrous Gunfighter. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.